Hi everyone, Yuri here. Last week I managed to sit down with Ferdinand and Yulin in order to discuss what does it actually mean for the B2B tech landscape to be on its inflection point. But that's not all. We actually discuss why should marketing leaders also need to take back the go-to-market function from their sales team, and most importantly, what you as a marketing leader need to do in order to survive in this AI first era. I won't tease you anymore, leaving you into the experienced hands of Fernand and Yulin, and I hope to see you at the TGS Con this September 18th. See ya.
One of the topics I'm most passionate about right now is this whole idea that when people talk about GTM, go to market, it's like a topic that has been hijacked by sales teams, right? People think about pavilion, people think about sales, but in reality, go to market, in my view, is much more of a marketing discipline than it is a sales discipline, right? What makes a good go to market strategy? What is go to market really based on? It's understanding the market, understanding the audience, the users, their needs, their problems, how we might solve them. It's positioning your product. It's differentiation in the market through product, through brand. It's reaching the right people through the right channels with the right message, bringing them into the fold, making them aware of your solution, your brand, your business. And only then does sales really actually get involved. So this whole idea to me that GTM is a sales discipline is ludicrous. Of course, sales is a part of a go-to-market strategy. And of course, customer success is a part of a go-to-market strategy. And of course, go-to-market is a multi-team effort. But this idea that sales has kind of planted its flag in GTM to me is kind of silly, and it really does not reflect the reality, right? So where on the marketing side, we've gone through many iterations of fake job titles to kind of make ourselves feel more important. This is more exclusively in the B2B tech world. We've called ourselves growth hackers. We've called ourselves growth marketers. We've called ourselves demand gen specialists. We're now seeing the same thing happen in sales. They're calling themselves GTM engineers. They're calling themselves RevOps specialists. They're calling themselves revenue leaders. But this is all a lot of posturing. You know, if you break it down to brass tacks, go to market is heavily dependent on marketing skills, more so than sales skills, I would say. And I think that's a topic that is going to change a lot in the next months and years because with AI taking up a whole new range of tasks within the overall commercial kind of operations of a business, I'm already seeing more marketing teams step in, and we're seeing more RevOps and GTM engineering automation, right? Who has those skills? Marketing automations people have those skills, right? CRM marketers have those skills, right? Some sales ops people have those skills as well. But if you look at all the people with the GTM engineer sales title right now, or GTM engineer job title, a lot of them have a marketing, a technical marketing background. So I think this is one of the things that I see as changing. Talk about B2B being at an inflection point. I think this hijacking of GTM by sales is something that is kind of strange, and I'm really keen to reclaim the GTM mantle under the marketing flag.
Yeah, well, first of all, I agree with Ferdy. I think, especially as we move more and more to B2B companies to support them on their marketing, I'm actually quite surprised with how little of their sales is actually set up properly to really build the scale. And still, marketing is seen as like you build the ads, you make sure that the brand is out there, but it's not really revenue focused. Whereas actually, I'm very surprised with how little sales is actually focusing on revenue ops, and defining automation and processes. So I totally agree. For me, I think what I see is an inflection point is currently, I think marketing is changing a lot. I think there's two schools, and we see it a lot currently in the market as well. Is that on one hand, you have marketers that are really trying to stick to, we need to focus on brands, we need to focus on the top funnel, we need to stay very fluffy on what we're trying to solve, what we're trying to do, and there's not really a shift towards being part of revenue. I think marketing should be, and I think what you're stating is very true. But I do see a lot of marketeers are in that corner of like, look at me, I'm sad, I'm not part of the commercial function, and they're not doing anything to really change that. Whereas I think marketing should get closer and closer to product and sales, especially with AI, where everything currently can be, you can copy everything. You can copy product, you can copy. But the only thing you can't do is really create authentic campaigns and really focus on how do you stand out as a brand. So I think marketing is going to become super important. But for me, the inflection point is everybody's doing a little bit of the same, and most of the people are focusing on nobody understands marketing, then really trying to shift that focus.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the one of the things that we see is that the companies where we're talking about B2B companies, with the B2B companies, B2B tech companies, where marketing is taking a leading role in the commercial organization and in the organization as a whole, those are the companies that are most successful,
Yeah.
right? And this is not a weird thing in B2C, right? When people talk about brands like Apple and Nike and Dom Perignon and even like small local brands, the idea that brand is as important as product is pretty well established, right? That a lot of the time, right?
Most of the time, brand is product.
Yeah, brand is product a lot of the time, right? Is Nike about great shoes? Surely there's a quality product element there as well, but the brand is just important. This has always been the case, and it's why in a lot of these companies, the CEOs often have marketing backgrounds. The CMO has a seat at the table because what you're selling often is a product and you're selling the marketing, you're selling the brand, right? Not to conflate the two, but in simple terms. And in B2B, that simply hasn't been the case. It's been very usually sales led, sometimes product led, and then marketing kind of plays second fiddle to the rest of the organization. And what we see, and this is a problem that happens on both sides, right? It's on the one hand, companies don't understand what good marketing can do for them, but most marketers are also, is what you're saying, and most marketers are just not doing a good job at
No.
establishing themselves within those businesses. So this is something that has to change. And it does make me think of another topic as well, which is, now that we're talking about it, it's so strange that in the world of sales, everyone's hyping up GTM engineering, everyone's hyping up RevOps, everyone's hyping up um, a lot of the technical automation processes. But in a world where AI slowly replaces more and more functions, the only real valuable sales skill is actually the personal element of I get on a call with a user, I empathize with them, I talk to them, I build a personal human rapport, and then I close a deal. I think, and maybe AI will be able to do that one day too. But it's funny that,
People sell to people, right?
yeah, people sell to people, and I think it's funny that even though like sales in the narrative of tech sales, B2B sales, 90% of the energy is going into the automation and engineering stuff. Whereas I think 90% of the value of a salesperson should be in their ability to connect with another person and close a deal. And I think this is kind of
Do
the
you think
thing
the
that,
marketing is the same? It's also connecting with the person, maybe on a different level, but I think the
yeah,
real good marketer understands
yeah, I
the
agree.
people they're talking to.
I agree, and but I think right now we're in this phase. We're in this phase where there's all these different tools, and somebody has to set these tools up, right? In the future, you're probably going to have dedicated people who are much more technical than the people setting them up now. But right now, a lot of marketing teams are setting up these tools. Why? Because through marketing automation and through these kind of skills, they've had access to certain technical knowledge, right? If you've been setting up automations on Phantom Buster, Expandy, and DuckSoup for the last 10 years, then you're probably going to be quicker to figure out how to use something like Clay or Apollo or RB2B or whatever. So I think there's this natural kind of, what, and you see it. A lot of growth hackers have rebranded themselves as RevOps specialists. But it's very strange to me that you have sales leaders, they talk so much about this stuff, whereas I think what's really interesting is the stuff that AI is not going to automate, right? Because unless you are very technical and you are really good at automation, I personally am not, and 90% of the sales leaders and marketing leaders I see talking about this stuff are not. So unless you're in the 1% who can actually orchestrate this stuff, you're better off focusing on the 99% of non-automation tasks that are really, really crucial to you, which is things like strategic thinking, taste, originality, creativity, empathy. Like that's the stuff that I'm going to be banking on. And maybe that gets automated away one day too, but I think that's a little bit further down the line than some of the more menial tasks. So I find the whole conversation around GTM, automation, AI, and commercial, it's in a very strange place where we're having a lot of opinions on where it's going, but actually we should be focusing on, hey, how are we going to be relevant after these things change, because they have already started changing, and there's not enough conversation about that in my opinion.
No, I think people are scared to have that conversation as well, because I think a lot of the functions within marketing will become redundant or change.
Yeah, I think actually marketers are going to have a much more important role, right? I
If
think
you do it right.
if you do it right. So I think this is the thing: marketing will become more important than ever,
Yeah.
but from current marketers that I see, I would reckon that 70 to 80% of them are not ready for the change. Then don't understand the wider business well enough. They don't understand their market well enough. They don't understand the stakeholder dynamics in their business well enough. They don't have the trust and the respect they need. Sometimes that's the company's fault. Sometimes it's also their own fault, right? It's not enough to sit there and say the big bad company doesn't get us. It's also our job. If we have a bigger fence to climb, we got to just figure out how to climb it. So whether all current marketers are going to have more impact in the future, there I have some doubts. And this is something we want to help marketers do, of course. But I think the most important thing here is like marketing as a function will take more and more of a responsibility within the company. And I think we're going to see the orchestration of automation on one side, and then we're going to see the real strategic, creative human element on the other side. And there's a lot of marketing skills in that part. There's also a lot of sales skills, by the way, but those sales skills aren't GTM skills. It's personal sales. It's direct relationship building. It's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. B2B marketing, B2B sales, B2B growth, it's all at an inflection point, right? The whole world is in an inflection point, and we are no exception, right? We're seeing more noise, more competition. We're seeing the rise of automation and AI. It's creating uncertainty. It's opening up opportunities. It's bringing challenges. And right now, when I look at what's happening in the world and what people are talking about, there is a dichotomy there.
Mm.
We're talking a lot about the role of automation when we should be talking about, okay, great, how are we going to make that automation work for us? And also, what is our role going to be as these automations?
Yeah, the focus is on the gimmick again. The gimmick. It's not really a gimmick, but the focus is on AI and automation, and not so much it's like how is that going to change how we do business. And
Yeah.
for me, marketing is that they should focus on how they're going to do business and how they can use the tools of AI and how they need to change their mindset. But it's not enough to just think about, oh, I need to become a next AI expert, because that's not going to make the difference, and there will be too many people to focus on that.
You need to understand the role that AI is going to play in your business, but if you're not personally an expert, it's unlikely you're going to become the expert in the next few days. So this is, for me, like strategic sales leaders talking about in-depth automation that they're not totally aware of. And the same with marketing leaders. Like I see like heads of marketing and brand who are suddenly AI specialists. It's like, come on, like back when you had the choice between the technical path and the creative path, you chose the creative path. And now you're going to tell me you're the AI orchestrator. Yeah, maybe you're a unicorn, but most likely you're jumping onto a trend. That trend is real. AI is going to disrupt the hell out of everything. And we're going to see so much automated way. I completely wholeheartedly believe that. But it's not enough to talk about what those automations can do and convincing people that they're going to change things. It's more important to also think about what our role is going to be within that. So the world of B2B is at a complete inflection point. We're seeing more noise than ever, more competition than ever. Pretty much every playbook and channel, if they ever worked, they don't work anymore. We're seeing the roles of marketing, sales, product, the relationship between these roles change. We personally believe that marketing is going to grow within organizations if marketers make the right decision. We're going to see the role of GTM completely transform. It's a very, very complicated time. And I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions. Most likely, most of us have the wrong opinions. So if you want to try and get the right opinions, you want to try and get the right data, you want to try and get the right ideas, you have to come to TGS Con, because we're bringing together over 20 of the best experts in the field right now, not only the big names, but also the secret operators who are just showing how to do it every single day. And if you join now, if you sign up now, you can get 50% discount on your ticket. So see you there. Otherwise, hopefully you're still around next year to come.